and welcome. You're tuned into Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. I'm Smriti Chaudhary, and this show is all about your stock-related queries, be it a short-term query or a long-term investment question. Do write to us on any of our social media channels or on the WhatsApp number that's flashing on your screen, and we'll take your questions to our fundamental and technical guests, and hopefully those answers will be beneficial to you. But before we do that, let's take a quick check of where the markets are currently at. You have the Nifty 50 up about 0.2%, trading above 24,300 levels, very close to 24,350 levels. On the other hand, you have the mid-cap index doing better than the benchmark, up about 0.4%. Small-cap index also up about 0.5% in trade. Let's pull up the contributors of the Nifty 50 as well and see what's taking the index higher. It's the bank, ICICI Bank, that's doing the heavy lifting today, contributing about 37 points to the Nifty. You have Infosys and TCS as well. That shows the picture of IT, which is the best performing sector in trade as well. On the other hand, you have an HDFC that's dragging in trade today, followed by an Axis Bank. Bajaj Finance as well slipped into negative after the first quarter numbers, and we'll discuss that in just a bit. Let's pull up the sectors as well. IT, of course, is the best performing, like I mentioned. Other than that, you have a pharma index, healthcare index up about 0.5% as well. On the other hand, you have Nifty Media in the negative today, down about 0.5%. Nifty Bank also not doing too well, down about 0.3%. PSU. So overall, bank seems to be in a bit of a negative trend today after what we saw yesterday. A big rally, especially in private sector banks yesterday. Let me also mark a couple of counters that are moving today. One is MOIL. Now, MOIL came out with its numbers yesterday. We saw the stock go up yesterday as well. It's continuing that today as well, up about 2.5%. There's Cello World that's up 4%. Now this comes on the back of a QIP. They've launched a 730 crore QIP. However, it's at a discount of about 11% of yesterday's closing. There's Gujarat Gas that's down about 1% after a couple of brokerage notes downgrading and reducing target price on a Gujarat Gas. However, there are a couple of stocks that are moving after the first quarter numbers, their business numbers that they have released. And one of that is Bajaj Finance, which is the focus for today. The company has released the first quarter update, and it's a good set of numbers. New loans have jumped by almost 40% on a quarterly basis and 10% on a yearly basis. My colleague Harsh is joining in to break down those numbers for us.
Well, yes, you're looking at Bajaj Finance, a decentish set overall when you're looking at it. 7% on a sequential basis, as well as a 31% on a year-on-year basis when you're looking at the AUM. Now they've guided for a 26 to 28% AUM growth in FY25. They've done 31+% in the first quarter alone. Therefore, setting themselves up very well for the rest of the year. 6% odd is what they need sequentially in Q2, Q3 as well as Q4 to achieve that 28% target. And that likely will get breached, because given the last 7 odd quarters, just a couple of times when Bajaj Finance has not done 7% plus on a sequential basis. So, and that's in the last 7 quarters. And therefore, likely growth might exceed that 26 to 28% target band. But essentially, the market's focus has moved from growth on the AUM front more towards margins and profitability for Bajaj Finance as well, because margin contraction is expected to be in the 30 to 40 bips range for FY25. How much of that is going to happen in Q1 is something that the market will have a view at now going forward, as well as the impact of that on profitability, as well as some commentary. Of course, the RBI embargo now completely out of the picture. 2nd of May was when the embargo was lifted, and likely, therefore, the entire market's focus will now shift towards profitability and margins.
Thank you so much, Harsh, for that. And let me introduce you to the guest today. I'm joined by Brijesh Ali of IDBI Capital. Welcome and thanks for joining in. Brijesh, now we'll come to Bajaj Finance in just a bit, but let's talk about the markets. Now, there are higher tops every day, and you look at the banking, the Nifty banking index as well. We saw a rally yesterday, but today it's in the negative. What kind of levels you should watch out for in the Nifty 50 and on the banking index as well?
Hi, good afternoon. So basically, the view for the Nifty and Bank Nifty both remain positive. Nifty positive because a few days before, maybe two trading sessions before, what we saw 24,200 was the level where the call writers were active, and that short position has been taken out. So the Nifty is heading higher on an immediate basis, purely from the derivatives data. If I understand the writing levels, then 24,500 and 24,600. This is the immediate upside I would be looking for the Nifty going forward. And today, being a weekly expiry, I believe it is going to be about 24,200. So any small mild correction during the intraday, so opportunity to go along the Nifty 50 space, Nifty in the money call options. I believe the week in this closing, there can be some little bit of more recovery can be seen in the Nifty. One of the reason is Bank Nifty. So Bank Nifty, as you said, I think HDFC Bank is down today. Whatever the gains we saw yesterday, I think it is just it is on the way to fill the gap up trade what we saw yesterday. Bank Nifty, I have a sense maybe at the end of the day there can be some recovery in the Bank Nifty. 53,000 is the exact price where the writers are active as of now. Once that 53,000 is taken out, I think the Bank Nifty will start to perform. And once that comes to the picture, I think the Nifty will also gear up some momentum. So bias is positive. Whatever the correction has to be seen, I believe it is done for the day as of now. I don't see further correction from this point. Bank Nifty, there is a larger possibility that we can see some bounce. And that bounce can also have some positive effect on the Nifty. So net, I think it's a positive. 24,500 should be the directional, at least for this week. 24,500 should be the target for the Nifty, and once 53,000 is taken on the Bank Nifty, I think another 500 points rally will be seen in Bank Nifty as well.
Right, understood. Now, we're also joined by Shahina Mukdam. Now, Shahina, we were talking about Bajaj Finance, and Harsh, my colleague, gave us the breakdown of the first quarter numbers, and he pointed out that the market is now shifting, looking at the profitability more than it's looking at AUM. And there is some contraction that's expected in terms of margins, about 30 to 40 basis points in FY25. How much of that will pertain to the first quarter is something that we're yet to see. From a longer term perspective, somebody who's maybe holding on to a Bajaj Finance and for somebody who wants to enter the counter, what would your view be?
See, I would suggest that if one is wanting to enter the counter, one should wait because there are a couple of issues. I think the major point is, of course, the increase in competition that is coming in over the medium to longer term. It will have an impact on the growth also. Secondly, as you have also mentioned, that we are likely to see a bit of compression in margins in the near term. And lastly, I think valuations. Valuations, if you see, it's more than 5 times so price to book. So to that extent, it is now more expensive than even the large private sector banks, much more expensive. So while I think it's a very good managed stock, very well, it's growing pretty well. At the same time, I think it will remain in a period of consolidation. You may see a time-wise correction over the next 1 odd year or 2 years. So I would suggest that you please wait. You can always get it at, slightly higher rates, similar rates in the next couple of months.
All right, fair point. Let's start off with the queries now. The first one is from Ramesh Srivastav, who's talking about the counter Antony Waste Handling. They bought the counter at a price of 315 rupees. It's currently trading above 537 levels. For somebody who's... Brijesh, this one's for you. What does the charts show on this counter? Do we have more upside in the shorter term, of course? And if not, should you book profits at these levels?
What I can figure out from the weekly time frame, the stock has witnessed support at 450 mark and then seen a good amount of bounce. So I think the momentum and the structurally it is looking positive. There has been a good amount of delivery volumes which we saw in the last couple of weeks. So momentum is rising. I think it is better to take a slightly further positive view, maybe closer to 600 level. I think that this move might get exhausted. So my view would be close to 600, book some part profits, or maybe review your position when it comes to 600 mark. But definitely the structure is positive. There has been a small swing reversal at 520 mark. So I think this momentum can last for another couple of weeks. 600 should be the odd levels where it can go back to. So we'll figure it out when it comes to 600 mark.
All right. Next counter is Tata Power. The question is from Sawadip Chatterjee. They already hold the counter at a price of 300 rupees. It's currently trading about 0.6% higher today. Shahina, from a longer term perspective, the counter seems to have doubled in the last 1 year. It, I know, is a favorite among the power space. What would your view be on this from a longer term perspective? Should you continue holding on to it?
Yeah, I think it's one of the stocks that is likely to give you a decent return, though of course it has moved up with the rest of the power stocks. I think the government has put in place a lot of policies wherein their demand for power is electricity is going to keep increasing. Secondly, I think Tata Power has been reducing its debt, so to an extent, it is the balance sheet is getting stronger. So I would suggest that even in renewables, since the company is making very strong investments and is growing faster than actually what it is doing in its thermal book, I think it's a stock that one can hold for the medium to longer term.
All right. Next counter is an IT counter, which is TCS. This question is from P. Shivnanda, who's writing in from Karnataka. They bought it at a price of 3,957 rupees. Not much of a profit there, but this from a short to medium term perspective. Brajesh, for somebody holding TCS, should you continue holding on to it? What's the short term view on this one?
Yeah, definitely. I think even the TCS and even the sector, IT sector is looking positive. So we had the peak, we had TCS as one of our pick. So I believe the immediate high, the closer to 4,200 mark, that should be the immediate upside. So as long till we don't see this 4,200, I don't think we need to get panicked. The view is much higher above 4,200 mark, but at this point, I believe we should be waiting for 4,200 to be retested, and I believe that will be seen in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Shahina, I think it's worth discussing the IT space today, considering it's the biggest gainer among sectors today. For something like a TCS and even IT as a space, how are you seeing this play out? We've seen a bit of, in the US, you've seen the numbers kind of slowing down in terms of labor markets. Do you think from a longer term perspective, how will this year look like? How will the next year look like for IT stocks in India?
Well, I think while IT services are going to be impacted in terms of overall growth, because we are seeing the US markets seeing a slowdown. So in terms of overall growth, top line, it is likely to, show maybe single digits or higher double-digit growth. But at the same time, I think over the last year, most of the companies have increase their deal wins. So to that extent, I think the first half may be a bit of a consolidation. But I believe that with margins expanding over the year, maybe this could be a time when you can start bottom fishing, and stocks like Infosys, TCS, HCL Tech, and some of the smaller ones also in the in the mid cap range like Birlasoft. I think the work that they're doing is likely to see give you a decent return as an investor over the 1 to 2 year time frame. So one can hold this as defensive. You can keep adding them at intervals, like more like an SIP, and hold it for the longer term.
All right. Next counter is ISAF Small Finance Bank. Now we have two viewers talking about this counter. First one is Asit, who's writing in from Kerala. This is a longer term question, and they hold from the levels of 64. It's currently trading below that price. Shahina, do you have coverage on this counter? And if yes, would you suggest holding on to this counter, considering this seems to be in a bit of a downtrend, has given negative returns? And I'll come to the short-term query in just a bit.
I think, it will be better to exit from the stock because one is, of course, as we mentioned, that there is increased competition. Two is the numbers are deteriorating. It's a small cap company, a small cap finance company. So I think it's better to exit. There are better stocks available in the same space.
And could you maybe name a few that you're constructive on?
Well, you have Geo Finance actually that tops the list, which has everything going for it for the medium to longer term. Of course, Sundaram Finance also looks good if you're looking at the NBFC space, and if you're looking at the banks, But I would say that banks better to wait post budget. Let's see what the government brings in terms of policy changes for banks, because we are hearing that there could be certain loan waivers that would come in. So I think this is not the perfect time to get into banks or NBFCs. Yeah, these are some of the stocks, but look at it post budget.
Brijesh, would you hold the same view as well? We have another question from Anuj Thamija, who's been holding this same counter at elevated levels, again at 63 rupees. From a short to medium term perspective, would you suggest holding on to it? Is there some sort of positive trajectory that's going to come in the next few months?
At the current price juncture, there has been a distribution in the chart, and during this Feb, there has been a good amount of profit booking, or maybe just so big amount of profit booking was seen during the Fab series, and now it is near the bottoming kind of structure. One may hold it, but then technically, if one has to see the trigger, there has to be a good amount of delivery volumes, which is missing as of now. So it would be like, since they are invested, they are holding the position, but there is no view to add any fresh longs or take any view. Maybe just maybe what exactly, like we can wait for a month and so just see if there is any development, but then adding or fresh long should be avoided. Just hold on and just maybe a little bit of bounce close to 53, 55. If that comes to picture, then we might review or maybe we can exit it.
All right, understood. All right, stay with us, Shahina and Brijesh. We'll be back in just a bit. It's time for a short break, and we'll take more questions on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Ask Profit. We were in the middle of taking questions, and the next one is from Bhaskar, who's writing in from Pune. The question is on NCC. They bought the counter at a price of 324. It's currently trading at above that price. Brijesh, for the past 2 days, if I'm not wrong, we've seen an up move in the counter after a couple of order wins. But today it's down about 1% as of now. What's the short to medium term view? Do you see upside in this counter?
Yeah, definitely. See, as you said, for the last 3-4 days before, there has been good amount of buying has been seen, and today is just a breather about that particular rally. So I believe at closer to 320, 315, there is a very strong base for the counter. As of now, it doesn't look like that level will be broken. But then in the near term, I think 365 should be the continuation of this trend. So if somebody is having a position, should hold on for 360 plus level. So that would be the immediate target for the NCC.
All right. The next counter is Azad Engineering. This is a recent listing. The counter is, the question is from Shri Kishore Sharma from Bihar. They bought the counter at a price of 2,000 rupees. It's currently below that, trading below that. China, but the counter has given massive returns since its listing, 172% returns since it got listed on the exchanges. But for somebody who's actually bought at elevated levels, what should they do?
Well, actually, it's difficult, I mean, if you really want to flip a stock, which is a new listing, you should do it immediately on listing and you're getting a decent return. But as of now, I think he's got to hold it for the medium to longer term if he really wants to get a decent return. But fundamentally, it looks okay because, it's a low debt company. It's doing reasonably okay. So I would say that he has to hold it if he wants to get a return.
All right. Next up, we have a question on IRFC. This one's from Praveen from Karnataka. They bought it at a price of about 47 rupees or thereabouts. It's currently trading at 177. Shahina, coming back to you on something like an IRFC where we've seen a rally in such counters. Should you book profits, maybe take some profit off the table, or should you continue holding?
I would suggest continue holding while it is more expensive than the rest in the space. At the same time, with the rally in PSUs continuing, I would suggest that one can continue to hold.
All right. Next counter is KNR Constructions. The question is from Debarun Chakrabarti. They bought at a price of 375, currently trading below that price. Brijesh, what should somebody do who's holding KNR Constructions? It's down today as well, down about 1.5%.
I think the view is positive. There has been the good amount of delivery volumes have been seen closer to 300 levels, and we are seeing the positive momentum in both the weekly and monthly time frame. Structure is very positive. This decline is just a pullback of the yesterday's rally. 340, 345 is a very strong base. We have a sense that if everything goes right, then the stock can go back to 420 levels. So it's quite positive. I think one should hold the positions. By any chance, if 345 level is taken down, then we'll review it, which doesn't look like as of now.
Brijesh, another counter is Lux Industries. The question is from Yash. They bought at 3,290. It's trading at around 1,500 levels right now. Hasn't done too much in the last 1 year. What should Yash do at this point?
I'm not pretty sure of 3,000 mark, but then somewhere this is forming a base. And if I do look at the weekly 200-day exponential moving average, which comes to 2,000 level. So another 500 points rally is definitely on cards. So it will take a good amount of time, maybe 3-4 months kind of a time frame. But right now I can bet for 2,000 levels. So maybe once it comes to 2,000, we need to review any story or fundamentals change or something like that. But if this guy, if he wants to play for that 500 move, then there is opportunity in this Lux industry.
All right. Shahina, do you have coverage on this counter? If you can give us a fundamental view on this as well.
Lux Industries looks good as of now. They have shown much better performance in terms of financials. Numbers are looking better. Debt is low, good balance sheet, and I think the overall sector is likely to see a good move in textiles. I think the sentiment is improving, with the government likely to bring in some more policies to in this budget to make to improve the fundamentals of the overall sector. So one should hold as of now, in my view.
Yeah. All right. Another counter is Asian Paints. The question is from Venke Patil. They bought at a price of 2,850 rupees. It's trading above that price. Shahina, what's the long-term view on an Asian Paints? Now there's competition in the space as well.
Actually, that is the main problem with Asian Paints. That is one, of course, number of new entrants and very big entrants with very, aggressive launch policies. And two is the valuations again remain elevated. It's a fundamentally strong stock in terms of balance sheet, but I would say, it is better to avoid as of now.
All right, it's an avoid on Asian Paints from Shahina. Thank you so much, Shahina and Pradesh, for joining us on the show today and for answering so many questions for us. It was a pleasure having you both on the show. And viewers, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully the questions that were answered today are beneficial to you. But we'll take more questions tomorrow, so do keep writing to us. And we have lots more lined up for you, so don't go anywhere on NDTV Profit.
welcome. This is Hot Money. I'm Agam Vakil, and in this show we take you through all the stocks which are buzzing in trade, as well as those which have been the flavor of the season. But before that, a quick look at markets, and at the moment it's been a quiet day of trade. Sure enough, it is the weekly options expiry for the Nifty, but the Nifty itself is actually just marginally in the green. What is, however, not in the green is the banking counters. The banking index specifically in this case is down by as much as 0.4%. And well, we do have a bout of profit taking. It does seem like that. After the Bank Nifty moved and closed above 53,000 yesterday, we have a little bit of a step back, but it's not significant. And that's what counts. At the end of the day, what it looks like at the moment is consolidation, further consolidation of all the key benchmarks. And on that note, very quickly, let's take a look at the constituents of the Nifty and see where there is change coming through. So ICICI Bank bucking the trend and diverging from its peers is actually advancing today. Besides that, we have